Hi guys and gals, today we're gonna talk about deadlift. I already have a video about deadlift. I go through the details. I talk about conventional variation and also a little bit about stiff-legged deadlift. But this video we're gonna cover deadlift with resistance band. Now, the muscles that are gonna be involved are gonna be the same, and the way we do the exercise is also gonna be the same. This is just a short video for you to know how you can do the deadlift and what are the reasons for you to do the deadlift with resistance band. First, let's start with the reasons. First of all, you might not have a bar or you might not have enough weight, so you use a resistance band. It's easier, you can move it around easy, and it's just efficient. Second one, it's gonna be easier on your forearm. So the dynamic of the resistance band is in a way that when you stretch it more, or in this case you come up, it's gonna become harder, and as you go down, it's gonna be easier. So you can rest your forearm when you go down and just squeeze and hold your grip tight when you're coming up. So it's gonna be easier for the forearm. Third reason you might choose resistance band over bar is you might not have the flexibility to do it with a bar. When you want to do the deadlift with a bar, you need to have good level of flexibility in your joints and your tendons, so you can just bend yourself in a good way and not feel any stiffness. Now, for people who have that problem, you can use the bands. When you go down, again, it's gonna be your own body weight, so it's not gonna be that much of a tension and a stress on your body. And when you come up, you have a better flexibility. And the fourth reason you might use a resistance band is to get started with the deadlift itself. So if you do not know how to do compound movements, so in this case deadlift, it's better to start with the resistance band so you understand the dynamic of the exercise first and understand what flexibility issues you need to fix first. Because when you're under a load, you might not fully understand the flexibility issues you have. You might not be able to distinguish the pain you have on your muscle and not understand whether it's because you work in that muscle or it's just too much tight, and that can also cause injuries. Now, these were just 4 reasons people do this exercise, but anyway, there are other reasons as well. Now let's talk about the exercise itself. Now, for you to again understand the exercise itself, you better watch that video, but there are just small things you should consider when doing this exercise. First of all, make sure the band is in the middle of your feet, so when it's too much forward, it's gonna raise the toe. When you bring it too much back, it might bring the heels off the ground as well. So make sure it's in the middle part, and also depending on the variations you're using, make sure the feet positioning is stable. And the way you can do that is just by trying to point the toes a little bit up. Because you see, deadlift is a compound movement and your strength is gonna be really higher compared to doing a bicep curl. So the chances that you can go a little bit heavy and lose your balance is gonna be higher. So make sure you point the toes a little bit towards outside so you have more balance. And when you want to do that, you're going to understand that you need to go a little bit wider with your feet positioning. So if you stand really close, it's going to be really hard for you to keep the balance when you stretch the band. So you might see that your knees caving, your leg is caving. So you need to go a little bit wide. The variation that I like to do the deadlift with resistance band is sumo deadlift, which is a wide stance positioning, which is gonna first of all guarantee my stability a lot more, and second of all, because it stretches the band from the beginning, it's gonna be harder from the beginning more. So the band is already stretched, so it's gonna be really challenging. But anyway, we're gonna talk about a little bit wider than shoulder width for now. And of course, if your legs go wide and you see that your hands are just not comfortable going down from the lateral part of the legs, bring them in. So play with that. Specifically when you're doing the sumo deadlift, when you go wide, you need to bring the hands in so you do not touch the legs when you're going up and down. Also, another way that you can make it more challenging is grabbing two bands instead of just one. So if you do the deadlift like this, it's gonna be easier compared to this. Now I have two bands, so the resistance is gonna be multiplied, but make sure when you do two bands at the same time, make sure they are stretched the same way as well. So if the lower band is really stretched and the upper band is really easy, I'm not gonna feel the resistance of this band because it's not gonna be stretched that much. But I'm gonna feel the resistance of that band a lot. So it might be hard for me from the beginning and I might not be able to come all the way up. So make sure both bands are stretched equally so you can add the resistance from both of them simultaneously. And it's not going to be hard for you from the beginning itself. Another thing that you must keep in mind is that you must be sure that the band is balancedly handled. So if I grab one side from here and the other from here, when I want to come up, this side is going to be harder for me. So I've got to consider where I put my hand. And again, you've got two options. If you go with one band at one time, like this, you should consider the length from here. So from here, both sides should be the same. And if you're trying to do two bands at the same time, again, first of all, make sure they are stretched both equally. And this time, you've got to consider the length from within. So you've got to consider the length from here.